I'm not saying I eat human beings, but just trust I know how to cook one. Today on Pork Choices, we're cooking up ribs, and it doesn't matter where I got them from, just know this recipe is my new favorite way of eating intelligent things. All thanks to Dr. Pepper. That's right, the world's most famous gynecologist is responsible for these perfectly sweet ribs. We're smoking these bad boys for about 5 hours and salting them down with a Dr. Pepper infused barbecue sauce. I'm not joking when I say these are now in my top 3 favorite ribs. However, I was joking about him being a gynecologist. I think he was a pharmacist and his name wasn't even Dr. Pepper, so thanks for believing me for 15 seconds. Starting out, we've got 2 racks of St. Louis style spare ribs. That just means they've already been trimmed, so if you find yourself having to buy the whole spare rib, just trim the top meat flap along the top of the bones and boom, you've got St. Louis cut. I'll show this in a future video. And FYI, these are just backyard good eating ribs. No competition style approach to these. So first, let's make any trims on our ribs for the sake of fitting on our smoker. I'm using my Kamado Joe today, so I know I have to get these ribs under 18 inches in order to fit. If I was using my Traeger, it wouldn't matter because I can park a car on that thing. There's nothing worse than getting your meat all seasoned up and then realizing it doesn't fit on the grill. So I'm trimming a few bones off just for that. And also, this is the thinner end of the rib, which just means it's going to cook faster than the rest of the rib and probably be overdone. So no tears in losing it. We're also going to trim off this little back flap of meat here and any other pieces that are just hanging off. From here, you can make one of 2 choices. Remove this thin membrane on the back of the ribs or score them with a knife. If you're cooking in high volumes, I totally understand just scoring them because that's what restaurants do. But for 2 ribs in our backyard, or in my case, my rooftop, we can remove it. It'll create a better eating experience, especially since sometimes that membrane can be tough. Some people like keeping it on, but I like it off. So from the corner of this big bone, you'll see this thin membrane sitting on top, and with a paper towel, you'll just grab the membrane and pull it back. Hopefully in one pull, but it might take a few times. And if you can't easily get to the membrane, just run a knife under the corner and it should loosen up enough for you to then pull it away. And yes, that paper towel is so handy here. If you try to grab that membrane, it'll slip right out of your hands without it. Now that we've got our ribs trimmed and membrane removed, let's season this thing up. Any sweet barbecue rub will do. Today, I'm using Swine Life's Mississippi Grind. It is one of my favorite rib rubs with an amazing balance between sweet and salty. But again, use any sweet rub you have on hand. Or you can show Swine Life some love and get it from their website at swinelifebarbecue.com. No, they are not a sponsor, but I really like their products and I've been using them for years. So we'll go down first with some Worcestershire sauce as a binder. You can use mustard if you'd like, but I had this handy. We want something for the rub to stick to. And then after rubbing that in, I'm going down with a heavy layer of our rub. Do not be shy here. Hit both the bone side and the meat side and the edges of the ribs too. We want to make sure there is no area of this rib that is rubless. Once you've got both of your ribs seasoned up, just let them hang out for about 15 minutes so they can start to develop that meat sweat. That's a sign our rub is doing its job and penetrating the meat with flavor. As mentioned earlier, I'm cooking this on my Kamado Joe ceramic grill. You can use any smoker you'd like, just maintain 275 degrees, indirect cooking, and I'm using 2 chunks of hickory wood today for flavor. Once your grill is up and stabilized at 275, place your ribs on and walk away for the next 3 hours. That's all the time we need for these ribs to take in the smoke flavor and develop color. In fact, you might as well make our poor choice for today, which is a Sailor Jerry's rum and Dr. Pepper mixture with a hint of lime. No real measurements here because you might want that thing to be a little bit stronger, but if I had to guess, it was about 2 shots of Sailor, half a lime juice, and the rest is Dr. Pepper. Also, you can just use any dark rum, really. Now, while we wait, we can also make our Dr. Pepper infused barbecue sauce, which is really easy. I've got a cup of barbecue sauce and I'm using Stubbs original barbecue sauce. Nothing complicated, so use whatever your favorite sweet barbecue sauce is. And then I'm mixing it with 2 cups of Dr. Pepper. And I'm going to bring this to a simmer and let it go until it reduces down to about 1 cup's worth of sauce. That's it. This is going to be our glaze for the ribs as well as an additional dipping sauce for later. Also watch your heat or it'll do something like this and spill over. It's going to take some time, but we want it to just almost be back to a barbecue sauce consistency. So it's going to start out watery like this and then it'll thicken up over time. And then we just let that cool down to room temperature. Now back to our ribs. It's been 3 hours and these have taken in all the smoke they're going to get, and they have a beautiful mahogany color, so that means we're good to wrap here. So I've got 2 layers of heavy duty aluminum foil for each rib. You definitely want to double these up because those rib bones can poke a hole in the foil and then you'll lose all your juices. And in this foil, we'll first place down 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and these measurements are for each wrap. So 4 in this one, 4 in the other. And then we'll place our rib meat side down on top of the butter. We'll bring up the sides of a foil and then pour over and around the ribs 1 cup cup of Dr. Pepper in each wrap. Seal it up good, but make sure you can still accessibly open it because we will have to check those ribs a little bit later. And then back onto the smoker, meat side down for about another hour. And if you wanted to, you could finish these in the oven, but the grill is already on and any excuse to go outside and drink is a worthy one. So after an hour, we'll check on our ribs and we just want to see if they're tender. They've been braising in that Dr. Pepper and butter this whole time. So see if you can wiggle a bone or two, and if you can't, you're good. Then carefully, and I mean carefully, transform the aluminum foil into like a boat-like container, and then carefully flip the ribs over so the meat side is now facing up and we still have all those juices contained in our little foil boat. Then we'll brush the tops with that Dr. Pepper infused barbecue sauce and then let it rock on the smoker, still at 275, for about 20 minutes or so, just long enough for that sauce to set. And that's it. Dr. Pepper ribs. This seriously is like the perfect type of sweet rib that everyone is going to love. And even though it may seem like it's going to be maybe overly too sweet, it's really not. It's just perfectly balanced. And if you want, you could add a little heat to this, maybe find like a sweet and hot barbecue rub or something spicy to add to the wrap, but these were perfect the way that they were. Hey everybody, this is Poor Choices Kitchen. We have a Patreon link down in the description. $1 a month is all we ask for to help pay for recipes in these here inflated times. And on Patreon, you can change your donation to whatever you want. It could be 1, 5, 10, 100, whatever you want. I'm not calling for 100, but you can do whatever your heart's content is. And we also have the YouTube memberships. That's just a flat $2.99, and that helps me get the payout that YouTube does a lot quicker. YouTube has a $100 threshold before they pay you out, and so having those memberships there helps out greatly. Both are super beneficial to me. And if you can't afford either one, you know what? A view and a share goes a long way for me. So I appreciate everyone who's been rocking with me and continues to rock forward. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. This is definitely going to be a popular menu item at the 4th of July, and Labor Day, and any cookout in between. So get those grills ready because we are going to be nonstop on it. So enjoy, and I'll see you back here next time.